What up? Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Cali Current Podcast. It's your host Grimace,
And Ish.
and we're here coming at you once again. Also, we just added a new streaming platform. So if you guys are into twitch.com, make sure to subscribe also to the Cali Current Podcast
On
um,
YouTube and Spotify.
on YouTube and Spotify. Since we're just testing out the pilot right now on Twitch, you can find it on my personal Twitch, which is Grimace6565. But we should be having that Cali Current Podcast Twitch account coming up soon. So Ish, just wanted to bring up in one of the things that's current in the news right now is is the thing involving the CEO from HealthNet, one of the health
United
United
Healthcare.
Healthcare. There we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, how do you? I mean, there's a lot of things going on with the health industry. From what I know, I always hear people here in Southern California. Sometimes, medical your employers don't always provide you with the best health insurance, or sometimes you don't even get health insurance if you're a self-employed entrepreneur. Um, so yeah, that's when people sometimes decide to go south of the border, out of the country to get their health care. If you don't
That,
mind,
that's gonna be me this month. At the end of the month, I'm going to Mexico because I think I finished getting covered for my insurance at the beginning of this month. So I'm gonna be one of those people that goes across the border to get their health care. I mean, I'm gonna get sick regardless when I go over there. I don't know. Usually it happens at the beginning, but last time I was there, I was sick at the end, and I came back with a mean cold that didn't. I was suffering through the whole flight, so yeah, I'm gonna be one of those people.
that you have to go south of the border, right, to get the medical attention.
Yeah, and dental too, dental work because it's way cheaper over there than it is here. Here the insurance doesn't even cover what 20% maybe. I don't know, not even that probably, and that's still a lot of money that you have to pay out of pocket.
Yeah, me recently, I just switched companies I was working for, and yeah, a lot of my medical coverages kind of like subsided because my new employer doesn't really cover too much of the
Oh,
medical.
okay.
So luckily, I don't have any medical issues at this time. But now that I got always got to have something ready just in case Plan B does happen, and unfortunately, due to the current medical system in California or the United States, we don't have universal health care, nothing like that. Um,
No, not at all. I mean, if you're making too much money in general, I would say not under poverty level, which is I guess under 30 grand maybe, I think.
mm,
Unless it got
yeah.
moved up, then you don't qualify for any of the benefits like SSI if you're disabled or whatever the case may be, or if you don't qualify for Medi-Cal if you don't make a certain amount of money. I mean, trust me, when I was trying to get, not because I wanted to, I mean, what is that? Not food stamps anymore. You can tell how old I am when I say food stamps because nobody uses food stamps anymore. What is it called? The program?
Um, I
I,
think it's called Snap. Snap.
yeah, SNAP. So I applied back in the day, right around COVID or right after COVID, and they only wanted to give me what, like $16? I think $8 for me and $8 for my wife because we made too much money. I mean, we weren't poor enough to get over $100. So, I mean, my point is that's not the point. The object is we weren't trying to get on Medi-Cal because we weren't going to qualify regardless. You got to be basically dirt poor to, and nothing against people that collect that stuff. It's just $8 for me and $8 for my wife. At the time was well, I don't know what are we gonna buy with $8, a sandwich or something.
Yeah, and then if you do qualify, because at one point I was back in the days when I was selling life insurance, and I also signed up to be able to sell the covered California health plans. So when I was doing those at the time, my dad he also was looking for health coverage, and then he's like, yeah, he couldn't. He said, man, these prices are crazy. I thought they're supposed to be helping, like you said. If they only really provide assistance if you're like under that 30,000 annual income.
Yeah.
And if you're above that, then the fees are pretty high, and the coverage is really not that good.
Oh, I mean, my parents right now they're retired. I mean, my mom's been retired forever, but she was a homemaker apparently. But she did work. I mean, several years from when I was a kid. I remember she worked a little bit. I mean, she just worked warehouse jobs, odds and ends here and there. But she didn't really work a lot, like all the time because she was taking care of us most of the time. I have four brothers, by the way, four male brothers. I don't have no sisters whatsoever. But yeah, now they collect, I guess, Medicare, if that's what it's called. I think they're under Humana, not to throw out names out there, not to name drop. But you know anything about Humana? I mean, not because you do, I'm just asking. I mean, I don't know how it works, but my dad always sort of complains that there's not enough coverage either. Like your father also mentioned, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about Humana. What is, that sounds like a Kaiser or like a United
No,
Healthcare, like a big
yeah,
name of
it's a
those
name
industry health
brand,
industry.
yeah, for Medicare, but they're already 72, respectively, and my dad he keeps complaining about a knee that he's had a bum knee forever, but
Mm.
he doesn't want to get surgery because he feels like he's gonna have to pay out of pocket a certain amount, which is possibly true. I mean, even then, he has coverage, but I mean, how much are they gonna cover? All of it, or I don't know. Technically, they're supposed to cover all of it because they do have Medicare.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing too. First of all, I believe my dad was saying that the monthly premiums were too high, and that the
Yeah,
coverage. There you go with the deductibles also high. That first you got to pay
correct.
out of pocket until their the assistance kicks in.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I don't know what the wait times are, but it's just unfortunate that he's gonna have to live with that knee for the rest of his life unless he, gets a wheelchair eventually. I mean, you could tell that his knee hurts or he's always in pain. Every time I see him, I even ask, "Hey, Dad, are you okay? Are you feeling okay?" And he always just gives me the same answer.
Yeah, like me personally, it's been almost about a year. It's gonna be in 4 days. It'll be 1 year since I broke my foot. It was they called it the metatarsal. So not the foot, not the pinky finger, but the one next to the pinky finger.
Aren't all the digits on your feet called metatarsals?
Uh,
Aren't they?
Yeah, I believe so. So it'd be like the fourth digit.
Okay, yeah, correct. Okay.
Yeah, so I broke that metatarsal. At the
Wow.
time, I didn't even think it was. I thought it was just like a sprain. But my friend's like, "Hey, you got health insurance. Why don't you go take advantage and go get it checked out?" So I did. I listened to him, which was a good thing I did. I went to a quick little clinic, and they're like, "No, you know what? It's a bad fracture.
Wow.
Yeah." And they're like, "Matter of fact, you should go to the hospital, and tell them that you're in a lot of pain." And at the moment, I didn't know why she was telling me to tell them
Huh.
that you're in a lot of pain, but now I kind of figured it out because she knew already, kind of like the way the whole health insurance thing goes. Because
Yeah.
basically, at the moment, I didn't know, but the lady at the clinic was telling me to, like, embellish a little bit and say, "Oh, you're in pain, you can't stand it."
You're in agony. You're not in
Yeah,
pain.
I'm grimacing in pain and whatnot.
He's his own name.
I was like,
Grimace is Grimace.
she's like, just do
Sing.
you. She's like, do you, boo. Nah.
Yeah.
But yeah, but at the moment I didn't get it. I was like, all right, and I was like, well, I mean, it was in pain, but for whatever reason, it's a good and a bad thing too. Now I see, having a high pain threshold. So
Wow.
yeah, I go to the hospital, and then I'm just kind of waiting there, and then I was kind of like, okay, I'll wait. It's not nothing too serious, which I should have embellished. I kind of like I didn't really think much of it. And I was like, okay. Long story short, the doctors at the hospital were like, okay, well, yeah, we do see you have a broken metatarsal, but we don't have any, I guess, surgeons available right now or something like that. Or I went to the wrong hospital, and they said just schedule a follow up with your doctor, and then they'll be able to address it. But so now I got it because since I wasn't embellishing or like letting them know like, oh, I'm in serious pain, so they didn't want to work on me there. Versus that's why the doctor at the first clinic was telling me no, do that. That way they start the process now.
They're on it like white on rice, right? Basically, they wanted you to embellish a little bit because they wanted you to get the care that you needed immediately instead of just making you be in pain and wait around, right?
Yeah, exactly. Instead of waiting around. So because they saw I wasn't agonizing in pain and making a big deal, now they didn't operate on me right there and then. Which by the time, okay, I went to go see my primary care physician, and then he had to give me a referral to another physician, and then the other physician had to like schedule in with the get it approved by the insurance company, and next thing you know, by the time I see a specialist, he's like, man, you know what? Unfortunately, the way the whole system,
Wow.
the process works, we won't be able to get you under surgery till like a month. And then
After all that,
after
wow,
all that, and then he's all
that's
like,
incredible.
yeah, and he's like, and then maybe even then he's like, maybe we shouldn't even operate on you at that time because maybe it'll bridge, the bone will
Oh,
reheal, and then long story short, if I was like a professional athlete, they would have done it right there and then, boom, or
yeah, of course, because you have to get back on the, whatever circuit and or just
get
keep
back to
working.
performing. Yeah.
Correct.
But since I was not a professional athlete, I didn't get the front of the lunch line pass kind of thing. So now, then that's when it clicked in my head. Oh, that's why the first doctor I saw
Yeah.
told me, okay, just let them know you're in pain, because she knew to get through all the
Bypass the
paperwork.
system,
Yeah,
basically.
bypass the system. Then I'd be able to, get the health
Attention that you required.
attention I needed.
Yeah, it's like going to the ER. Basically, you guys have ever been? I mean, I'm sure somebody has a story. Everybody has a story of going to the ER, and short of your skull not being cracked or whatever the case is, they're not gonna take you in right away. Especially if you're like not embellishing like he should have, and saying, okay, well, I feel like I'm dying or something. I feel like I'm suffocating. I'm having a heart attack. I'm having a stroke. They're not gonna take you in right away because it's not an emergency.
Yeah, and then the doctor that was gonna do the surgery, he's even like, and then the thing is, by the time we do surgery, now at that point, now if we do surgery, now it might have healed. So now we're gonna cut it again, and then basically we're gonna re-break the bone so it could heal again. So now you're gonna be on more of a delay. So I was already healing for 1 month,
Yeah,
and now it's gonna break again, do the
yeah.
surgery, and then another healing. And I was like, oh my goodness,
So
that's
basically, yeah, they're gonna make you start the process all over again for 30 days.
from healing all over again. Yeah,
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, it's
yeah.
hard to fathom, but it does happen. It is the truth.
Yeah, and that's all because of the way, unfortunately, the way the healthcare system is set up. I mean, I'm still glad, and I'm very fortunate to have medical attention. I know there's a lot of people that, like you were saying, your dad who's has to live with the knee, and he's not too happy
Well,
about that. I'm sure.
it's his choice because not because he doesn't want to get it done, but because the way he sees it in his mind, it's like I don't know, a lot of Hispanic people, I guess, if that's how you want to put it.
Yeah,
He doesn't want to put the money forth because he feels, well, what for? I'm just gonna live in pain for the rest of my life, and I'd rather do that than fork out the money. It's unfortunately it's a stigma that we have. Technically, yeah, and that's it's unfortunate for him, and not
uh,
because he doesn't want to spend the money either, but because he figures, well, I've already lived with it all these years. What's another few more years, in his mind or whatever the case is.
yeah, or other, like, I mean, typical stereotypes of Latino men.
Yeah.
My grandpa would be like, I'll be like, Grandpa, you gotta follow what the doctor was telling you. He was telling you to do these, exercises to heal your leg, and he'd just be like, oh, what do they know? I'm like,
Well,
Grandpa, they're doctors. But he's like, nah, they don't know nothing.
well,
And
it's
I'm
like
like, oh
that
my
George
gosh.
Lopez joke when he did one of his first main specials that really basically got him on the map or put him out there for the generations to know about his name. I mean, it's one of the funniest. I forget the name of that special, but he basically says, nomás tómate una 7 Up. Just drink a 7 Up and that'll fix it right away. Just put a little, put a little vapor rub on the wound and you'll be fine. Just
Yeah.
spit on it a little bit and I'm sure it'll get cured.
You gotta spit on that thing.
Yeah, yeah.
That
I mean,
cures everything right there.
well, yeah, I mean, but it's just the reality. Yeah, stereotypes are true because they were made to be stereotypes because it's the truth about stereotypical things like that. Like me, for instance, I have my own story too. I mean, I didn't break any bones. Thank goodness. Look, I'm knocking on wood because I've never broken any single bone in my body
All
at all
right.
whatsoever. Not my fingers, nothing. I mean, not even cracked my skull. The funniest thing that I think I could say that possibly happened to me is that I got scraped when I was underneath my 1990 Toyota Corolla back then about like 15, 20 years ago, and I scraped myself bad because I was trying to take the something. I think I don't remember what it was. But my point is that I think that's the worst thing that happened to me. But I have had it's called of course the metatarsals. All my metatarsals, because I had hammer toes. I've had a hammer toe operation, and the reason why I got that operation is not because I needed it,
Ah.
and not because I required it. I went in there because my ankles. Had messed up my ankles at work, and I was still running in high school. I was in track, and I didn't let it heal, and eventually both of my ankles got messed up. And then when I ended up going to I guess first the chiropractor, then podiatrist, and then whatever the case was, the podiatrist, oh, we can fix that. All you need is to fix your crooked toes, because I do have hammer toes, because it's a hereditary thing. My grandpa had them. My mom sort of has them, but I have them worse than both of them have ever had them. But my point is, he's like, he didn't even look at the issue, but he fixed something else entirely. So in a way, I sort of don't trust doctors that specialize in anything in terms of my feet or my bones or anything, because the only doctor that I wanted to go to, that I did go to, didn't fix my issue that I was mainly concerned about,
Did
which
he
were my ankles.
was he like fixing? Did he fix another issue, or
Well,
he
he
like?
fixed a non-issue that was not gonna affect me, because I needed my ankles to be fixed. I needed to have an orthopedic surgeon or surgery, but I never went to an orthopedic surgeon. I went to a podiatrist because he figured, oh well, charge the insurance company and whatever. Oh look, not only that, he did my hammer toe operation and he took off to I don't know, Hawaii right after, because he got the money from the insurance, and he just took off because that's, I guess that's what doctors do after they get a bit major check. I don't know.
I
Not to
mean,
disparage doctors or anything like that.
I mean, yeah. In his defense, he could have already had his trip built up, or already has savings from
Yeah, yeah, you're
investment.
right. But I just found it like, oh well, I'm gonna fix this kid up that doesn't need the surgery, but I'm gonna leave right after anyways because he doesn't need me anymore.
Uh,
That's the way I see it. So in a way, I'm sort of skeptical to trust doctors nowadays. I mean, doctors here in the U.S., because of the fact that
I
my
mean,
insurance covered everything at that time.
there was this one time I went to go see the doctor because my lady at the time told me, she's like, I had like fungus on my toes, and she's like, oh, you know what, you could just, they give you these pills, and then it makes it go away, because it's like you have to attack the fungus on the nail from the inside. So long story short, I get the referral to the podiatrist,
Yeah.
and then when I go in there, I was like, he's like, oh, okay, like, because he gave me the pills, and it miraculously did cure the fungus on my toes. I was like, wow, I lived with this for so many years, and it was
Didn't have to.
clear. But
Yeah.
but then, like, towards the end of our sessions, because I'd have to go do check-in sessions just to make sure everything's good, because the medicine's really strong or really harmful to the liver.
Yes, correct.
Then he tells me, he's like, oh, have you ever had any ingrown toenails? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, you know what? I could cut your ingrown toenail right now so you won't get it. It's like preventative, but I could do it for you, like a surgery. But he was really kind of like pushing towards it. And I was like, no, you know what? It's not bothering me or nothing like that. Cause ever since I did have that operation when I was younger, then I knew, like, how to prevent future
Correct.
ingrowns. But yeah, he was ready. He's like, your insurance will cover it, and we'll do it, and the surgery. And I was like, man, yeah, he was kind of pushing towards that. So I would just say, always get a second opinion. Like, even when they did the surgery operation on my broken metatarsal, which the anniversary will almost be a year ago from when I broke my
Yeah.
foot. Yeah, I went to get a second opinion, but the second doctor also kind of gave me the same conclusion, and it was just had to make a decision from there.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It's a great thing to get a second opinion always, no matter what, because the first doctor, I mean, we never know. I mean, what their motives are. I mean, in my head, it's like, oh, okay, well, they do have a motive, but I never went to get a second opinion. But I should have. I should have gone to an orthopedic surgeon, but I didn't know that at that time. I was like 19 or 20.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna guess. You're probably younger back then,
Yeah, I
now.
was like
Yeah.
oblivious, I guess. But my point is that I have actually, I think I remember correctly. If I remember correctly, I think he also took out my toenails as well. That same surgery, because I was in a lot of pain. I mean, for somebody that didn't need surgery, I was in a lot of pain. I couldn't move. I still remember because it was in '96 back then when Magic was already retired. I think he was a coach, but I could be wrong.
Oh yeah, he was
My
coaching.
friends took me to a Laker game. My friends then from high school took me to a Laker game. I remember because I remember seeing Eldon Campbell, um, Sidell Threet, uh, whoever was the Lakers back then.
Oh,
I mean,
there.
it's a lot of old school players. I mean, they had a decent team, but they weren't going to be good. But my point is, I still remember all this because it was in '96. Yes, like I said, I'm 47. I was born in '77. But my point is that I'm older than what you might perceive me as.
All right, all right. Yeah, well, so basically, I mean, if you're gonna go under the knife surgery, you always want to get a second opinion, and always gotta. I mean, you can't really plan for emergencies like that, but um, always just be aware, like it. I mean, unfortunately, it kind of like in a professional sporting event, like where they flop, just to get the foul called. You gonna kind of have to do that nowadays if you want to get the surgery done and not have to have things delayed just because the way the medical system is set up.
If it works for the athletes, I'm sure it's going to work for us common folk because of the fact that, yes, athletes, especially basketball players, get away with a lot of that
They gotta
flopping.
flop a lot, yeah.
But no, I mean, even in soccer, like this is why I don't watch soccer. Not to go away from the
Ah,
subject.
man, soccer does that
It's
a
not
whole
a
lot.
flop. It's all. Oh, I'm dying. I'm dying. I'm dying. Really, he barely even touched it with his finger.
Yeah, they start grimacing in pain on the floor, like, "Hey, man, like, come
We've
on, get
seen.
up, Bambi."
We've seen, yeah, exactly. We've seen those videos on YouTube or wherever you've seen. Even if you watch live and live replay, I mean, come on, it's so. They're like the worst actors in the world. It's like, come on, people, get on with the show, dude. Stop being a little prima donna that nobody's paying attention to you for. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way the whole thing's set up. Because also my friends that are in medical industry have shown me too, like, oh yeah, whenever like, I've also heard too, like when the medical biller collectors try to collect, or whenever even the billers for medical companies, like if they know they have insurance, the fees are higher, and then when there's no insurance, then okay, well then they're able to reduce the prices even. I'm just like,
I I,
what?
I did not medical billing. I did workers comp billing. The company that I worked for is no longer around, but I mean that was hard work. But I mean we collected on topical medications, which is basically capsaicin. If anybody knows what icy hot is, it had the main ingredient is capsaicin. So we basically collected on topical medication workers comp claims at that time. I'm not going to name the company because now defunct. But even if I would, there was a lot of controversy with how they collected their methods. Me personally, I didn't do those methods, but when they went to court, the methods were weird. But I'm not gonna disparage that company
Mm.
because a good aunt of mine got me in there. She was a manager of that place, and she gave me a job when I needed it the most.
Oh, then
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
So
livelihood. Then yeah, you got to give it up to the company. So yeah.
yeah. So no, I mean they're no longer around, which is fine. But I enjoyed my I don't know 8 month stint. It was a quick 8 months. But yeah, medical billing in general, of whatsoever, whatever it is, it doesn't matter what um, discipline it is. It's not fun at all. It's a lot of work. And I've also done billing like collections for the county where I had to call people late on their citations or late on their civil judgments or whatever money they owed. There's a lot of things. But my point is that nail fungus can be treated with a simple cream, according to a lot of doctors, because I've been sent a lot of, um, I guess, promotional. Get, don't pay anything at all. We're gonna pay for free on Amazon with these third-party companies that wanted to send me a lot of nail fungus cream
Oh crap.
medication. But I only did it once, and I'm like, really, how much nail fungus medication do I need? I mean, I'm gonna stock up for the rest of my life or what?
I mean, I tried growing up. I was trying some of those creams, and none of them ever worked. The only one
No,
that did work was the one. There was some pills, and that
correct.
medication was
But
strong.
but like you said, it's bad for your liver.
Yeah, it's bad for your liver. He said you can't be drinking on it. I mean, at the time, I was still like drinking pretty heavily, and yeah, it was probably doing
You're
doing
gonna
damage to my
destroy your
liver.
liver, yeah.
Yeah, on top of how already destroyed it is. But I mean, that yeah. So the reason I was bringing that up is because just recently on December 4th, the CEO of United Healthcare was fatally shot, and I don't know if you've heard about that, but
You know what? I saw the story like I think this morning, and I just glanced through it. But I did. I mean, it did catch my eye, but I wasn't like interested enough to read what happened because I'm like, well, I mean, it was the CEO of a big time healthcare company. Okay, I mean that you don't hear that happening, but in my head, I'm like, well, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's kind of a big deal. It's just kind of, I think it's more like a kind of like a scene from the Batman movie. One of the Batmans where the the common folk are trying to uprise
Oh, that's the
against the
Dark Knight
billionaires.
Rises.
Yeah, that's the Dark Knight Rises, right? Where everyone's kind of like on the Joker side, I
Yeah.
think, and
No, that's Bane actually. Bane and Catwoman and I forgot her name. Whatever. Raz Al Ghul's daughter, whatever the actress's name is. She's pretty, by the way.
yeah, but it just kind of reminds me how like the majority of the folk, where they kind of set it up where actually Batman is the bad guy because he's this billionaire guy, and
Yeah.
then where everybody else is the common folk, trying
It's,
to be living and surviving.
yeah.
But basically, yeah, because that CEO of United Healthcare was fatally shot outside of the New York Hilton Hotel in Manhattan, and the suspect is still at large. The guy who shot him, he
Wow.
killed him at 6:45 a.m. And see, it was like a planned attack. It wasn't just like a random thug killing him because
No.
when they found the casings to the bullets, he even engraved them with the words "deny, depose, and defend."
Depose or dispose?
No, depose. So
Okay.
deny, depose,
Like a
and defend.
deposition. Yeah.
Yeah, like a deposition, which it's actually a reference they're saying for criticisms of the insurance industry.
I see.
Yeah, so and then after that, they were saying after he had passed away, they were also sending death threats and bomb threats to his wife and his home.
Wow.
Yeah, so after that, then now all the insurance company CEOs, they started increasing their security measures with around the clock protection, and now basically they're trying to protect all those healthcare bigwig things.
But didn't I mean I think we did sort of a little bit discuss this maybe earlier today over dinner
Yeah.
because you did say that he already knew he was being threatened, but he never did anything about it. I mean, you would come to think that this person has millions of dollars at his disposal, and you couldn't have. I mean, I mean, I'm not to put this guy in a bad spot because he's no longer here, but you would think somebody of that high stature would get some bodies around him to protect him, especially if he knew he was being threatened or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, if he was being threatened, yeah, but I guess they didn't really see it as
Major threat.
an actual possible threat,
Okay.
seeing how and this has never happened before, where someone takes a calculated, what do you call it, calculated planned murder assassination
Yeah.
attempt at
Oh.
someone who's not really in the news, just a CEO of a company.
Well, there's a first time for everything, and not to sound cruel or anything, because I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm not trying to be funny about this, but I mean, you would also think when Mark David Chapman killed John Lennon in 1980, he was a fan. He had barely taken a picture with him, I think, earlier that day, and then I mean, I would assume he had the weapon on him, but he didn't commit the murder at that time.
So I
But
don't I
yeah,
don't
so the
I don't
point
know.
is, yeah,
Yeah, I don't know too much about that and the John Lennon. So was he an actual fan or
he
was
was
he
a
just
he
pretending to be
he was
fan?
a real fan that had asked John Lennon either for a picture, if I recall, or for his autograph, or he got both possibly. But he didn't do the act right there and then. He waited
Yeah.
until he came back into the building, and that's when he took him down. Unfortunately, I
But
miss John Lennon, by the way.
but was the maybe the first picture you took was just the faking to be a fan, just to
No,
like
he was a
plan
true
out his
fan.
attack. Oh, he was a true
He
fan,
was
like
a
an
true fan,
obsessed fan.
yeah, like everything else in life. I would assume people that commit certain things, like going out of their way to stalk somebody or to go out of the way to actually commit the actual murder itself, are fans because they feel like they have a connection to that person, like
Oh,
a deep rooted connection that's unequivocal of anything else.
also basically like in that one, that fan was so deeply obsessed with John Lennon that he just figured, oh, I'm gonna be a chapter in his life, and
He wanted to be famous mostly.
Oh, so he
like
wanted.
everybody else.
So he wanted to be famous and play a
Correct.
part in his life by
Correct.
being the demise of John
Yes.
Lennon.
Correct.
Oh
And that's
man.
and I mean eventually I guess he was interviewed in prison and he did admit to it that he just
Mm.
wanted to be famous.
And then they gave him what he wanted.
Well, he got what he wanted.
Oh
That's
my
he went
gosh.
to go obtain it himself. He had to do something about it. But my point is that we don't know why this happened to this person. I forgot his name because, like I said, I didn't really take an interest to read the story when I skimmed it in the morning when I saw the YouTube video. I would assume, but I didn't think that. Okay, well, it's not a big deal. I mean, but you're possibly right that it might have been somebody that was planning that maybe he already knew a lot about him, and who knows?
No, yeah, the silent the attacker, he's still at large.
Yeah.
But the victim that succumbed to that the CEO of United Healthcare is Brian Thompson.
Okay.
But now I don't condone violence and especially don't condone murder or anything like that. But just getting a feel on social media today and checking out the posts and the comments everybody's putting on there, it seems like people don't really have too much compassion or empathy towards him. They even give like slight inclinations of, well, that's what happens because I mean you and I, and I'm pretty sure many of our viewers are not too happy with America's healthcare system, and we have lots of criticisms on it. And now this is one of the beneficiaries of the that system of healthcare. As a
Yeah.
CEO, it shows that he was let me see.
I think, in my opinion about it, I would think we have a broken system in general, but because, I mean, the only reason why medical coverage got so expensive is because of the actual insurance companies themselves, because of the fact that they ask for so much, and or it's a lot of money just to take care of yourself in this country.
Yeah, and then I mean, I'm looking at these other CEOs. The CEO of Pfizer, compensation of 30.5 million in 2022. The CEO of what was this of Molina Healthcare in 2023, 21.5 million. So these CEOs of these healthcare industries are ranking in to me just kind of assimilating them similar to the CEOs of the OPEC cartel, the
Yeah.
petroleum and gasoline industry cartels. And them too, both of these industries, they're both exploiting a need that everybody has. We all have. We all depend and we're all addicted to oil and gasoline. And but yet they're making record profits every year, and we're always every year paying more and more for
Well,
fuel.
it's like everything else. I mean, I think that big pharma, because all the pharmaceutical companies too add to this issue, and not to get too much into the minutia of it, but because yeah, they're in it for the capitalism aspect of it. I mean, that's why we have a capitalistic society in the United States, because only the big companies are going to benefit from it when the people that can't afford this type of care and or these type of medications we pay for it. We literally pay for it physically, spiritually, and also monetarily, because of the fact that that's just how it is, that there's nothing we could do, because like I said, it is, in my opinion, a broken system.
Yeah, well, like you said, there's nothing we could do. I would say up until now, because like, see, now people are starting to get fed up with it. Just based off the facts that I have now, kind of received and observed, this this was not it was not just a random attack, like where this guy's like, oh, I see him at 6:45. He
No.
was planned. He engraved casing on the bullets with a message, and from what I even heard, it had to do something with artificial intelligence. Now that they're using artificial intelligence to deny the claims of healthcare, so to make it more
Well,
cost efficient for the companies, even.
yeah, well, that's unfortunate. I mean, it's always the masses that are going to pay for the few that become wealthy. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just how it is. It's always been like that. And I mean, we can complain, we can go march on the streets and do protesting and all that, but it's never going to change unless we make sure that our politicians get involved. But most of the time, it's a lot of bureaucracy. I mean, I don't want to talk
Mm-hmm.
about it because I don't like talking politics. But even then, they benefit from it because they're supposed to represent us. But in reality, you know,
They
You
too
know
are
how,
end up in the
but you
pocketbooks
know how it
and
works. I mean, I'm not gonna talk about it. It's pointless. But it's like everything else. It's going to the highest bidder, I guess. That's how I want to say it.
yeah, I mean exactly. They got the lobby, especially for big pharma and medicinal companies. They're clearly in the political and lobbying game. But I mean,
They're all in cahoots. That's what I say. I mean, that's just plain and simple. They're on cahoots.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, I'm still gonna pray for the families but maybe there'll be a awakening up to America and the industry that like people are getting fed up with this broken system, and it seems highly unfair to many people that depend on medications that need their medications to for their whatever ailments or diseases they may have,
Yeah.
and the insurance companies are involved in it, and it's all at the expense of the common person, the your everyday regular persons on
Taxpayers.
Medicare, Medi-Cal, and whatnot. Yeah, taxpayers and the
Mostly the
yeah.
middle class, by the way.
Yeah, and exactly, and we end up paying the middle class is paying the burden of the brunt. So I mean, I'm not I'm not encouraging it, but at the same time, maybe this will be a wake up call for the industry to change their
Hopefully, we could
practices.
only hope. I mean, we could only pray. We could only hope. We could only wish. We could only do so much. But in reality, it's not going to change unless it changes from the top down. And it's not going to change from the bottom up either. I mean, what can I say? We have to grin and bear it. I mean, I think things are going to get worse. I mean, not because I want to say it, but because I feel like it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, from what I see, it does seem that things are gonna be like income disparity is probably gonna start increasing as well. Just like the that Batman movie where you're gonna have more, the middle class is gonna start disappearing. You're gonna have more rich people, and then
Yeah.
more everyone else is kind of either gonna be at the top of the top or at the bottom of the bottom, kind of
Yeah.
like Brazil and Mexico. From what I understand, those countries they don't really have too many middle class. It's either you're at the top or at the bottom.
Well, I mean, like I said, not to get into the politics of anything, but yeah, they're all like I said, they're all in cahoots, and the ones that suffer are the people. And yeah, the government. I mean, what can I say? I mean, it happens in every government, I guess. But it's just reality. We have to face it. We have to accept it, and if we can change it, I'm sure we would. But that's not up to a few of us. It's up to all of us.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So as a collective, I mean, individually, yeah, no, we can't really affect it, but as a collective, maybe now we'll start getting more groups, more organizations to kind of combat these things, these big industries, these cartels and whatnot.
Everybody has to push. Everybody, like every single person that is already fed up, has to push for some type of change. That's the way I feel about it. I mean, it can happen. Maybe not in my generation or in my lifetime, I guess, but it might happen. I mean, I don't know. I guess the young people are gonna have to deal with that eventually.
Yeah, because the way I was seeing it is kind of similar, like how the Bitcoin. Well, that's what actually got me triggered on thinking that the income disparity is going to increase. Because I just saw recently the Bitcoin finally hit the six figure threshold. It's now one Bitcoin is now worth $100,000.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, just like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, it was like at 90,000, and before that, a couple more weeks ago, it was like at 70,000. I was like, and it's like, damn, it hit 100,000. So that just tells me people who are in that game, that investment game, they're just making money, just sitting
Hand over
down doing
fist.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like,
Well,
oh my gosh.
eventually the bubble's gonna burst. I mean, it's like everything else. You can only get so high, in the stratosphere, that eventually you're gonna run out of oxygen and you're gonna have to come tumbling down. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the way I see it. I mean, I don't invest. I never have. I mean, when I was 12, 13 years old in junior high school, my math teacher, I mean, for fun, he tried to make us pick out certain companies and see which ones we're gonna, follow. We're gonna follow them, and then if we had hypothetical money, will we make any money? This, that, and the other. It was a fun thing to do at that time.
Yeah.
But I'm like, when it comes down to putting your own money, it's something that people are skeptical about. but I guess there's a lot of risk taking in that type of business or in that type of stock market, um, whatever you want to call it, investing, I guess.
Yeah, I was getting involved into it like in the 2020s. I mean, I always had my eyes on it, but in the 2020s during the whole coronavirus thing, that's when I kind of started getting more inclined into it. But then I started pulling out my money out of it once I heard about the whole GameStop thing and how
You never did the GameStop? Did you ever watch that movie that came out like about a year ago?
yeah, I saw that movie.
That guy made out like a bandit, man. Kudos to that guy. I
Yeah,
forgot his name,
I think
but I saw that special.
I think it was like Red Panda or something.
It doesn't matter, but he oh man, the cojones on this guy for him to just do it all on his own. He had faith in it. He made it grow, and wow, that's a phenomenon. That I wish I had that guy's audacity to keep believing in something that he knew was gonna turn around eventually.
Yeah, that thing is actually what made me take out the money out of the Robinhood app because I was like, I got upset when the owners of the app of Robinhood were just because he was manipulating the system so much, they stopped trading on the platform and they like stopped more people from buying
Correct.
GameStop. So then I got fed up. I was like, oh, you know what, man, this is all controlled. It's supposed to be a free market.
They were putting him upside down, and eventually they ended up owing all their assets, and they basically went broke.
Yeah.
It was a hedge fund, right? I think it was a hedge fund.
Yeah, it was a hedge fund that was losing money because they were basically gaming the system against the big billionaire
Well, they
companies.
were gonna put it out of business for a reason. They were gonna make the stock go so low that they were gonna benefit from it because they were gonna sell at a certain point, and that's what they do. I mean, that's how it is. That's just how people that have this type of leverage. That's how they do. It's just unfortunate. I mean, the powerful only get more powerful, and people that have no money lose all their money.
Well, that's the thing though too. I know a bunch of us are just trying to survive in this world, and but we all want to thrive, obviously. But I think that's a tool that, like, we gotta start using also as well. Because if you don't use it and you don't, start learning about getting into those, then you're not gonna be able to participate and all that. And it seems like that's what America's gonna start doing. Like, if you don't get part of that, then they're gonna push you aside. So, a lot of those start considering like looking into the Robinhood app, the
Still
Scott
around?
Trade, E Trade.
Robin Hood's still around?
Yeah, they're still around.
Okay.
So
Just so you understand, everybody, this is Cali Current Podcast. Your host Ish.
and Grimace.
We do thank you very much for being here, and we're gonna make sure that you please like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so you can please follow us on YouTube or Spotify. Okay?
Yeah, and just make sure, if you guys aren't too much into investing and stuff, that's always a good platform to, get your savings up because, as you guys know, in the savings, you don't really get too much increase. It's like 0.001%
You're talking about the
increase.
savings when you put your money into the bank.
Yeah,
Do you know?
exactly.
Do you know
Savings
how that
account.
works? Do you know why supposedly when you put money into your savings, do you understand how that works? What they do with that money?
Well, I know they use it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the money that you have in your savings, they use later on because technically, they're gonna make. I mean, I don't know. I would say 30% on that money, and you're only gonna what? Not even 1% from the savings.
Yeah, that's where I was going with using these trading platforms such as Robinhood, E Trade, Scott Trade, and it is more risky. Well, it's slightly more risky because instead of having in a savings account, you could put your money in, say, something that's more safe, like an Amazon or an Apple, and those are pretty
A
safe
blue chip
companies.
company, correct?
Yeah, like one of those big companies that they're gonna be around more than likely because at the end of the day, anything could go belly up.
Correct.
Like who went bad? I think Sears or something like that. One of those big
Oh,
stores.
no. Oh, they're gone already. I mean,
Yeah,
they lost everything. And I think the one was Peloton. Peloton was big about a year ago, and then I started hearing in the news that they're basically wiped out. I mean, I guess they still have a market somewhat, but they were like getting big because a lot of people were buying those treadmills or whatever, all the products they sell. And all of a sudden, little by little, or not little by little, like from one day to another, they start saying, "Oh, well, the stock is going down drastically. This, that, and the other." That Peloton that you had bought for like, well, I don't know, 2 or 3 grand was only worth like $500. When that happened,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Things can go belly up.
Yeah, so I mean, it's way better than a savings account. Like you said, a savings account, the bank is only just gonna be using your money, but versus yeah, like if you go to Amazon, put your money in savings instead of a savings account. You go to Amazon. Maybe if you're feeling risky, then yeah, you go for a company like that sells products, but maybe more like something like a big company type stuff and or something else. But if you go into those apps, they'll tell you which ones are safe more or less. But basically, it'll be better than a savings account kind of thing.
I've never done that. I don't know if I have the willingness to do so to try that out. I mean, everybody can guarantee anything in the life, even the people that you buy stocks from if you're into stock trading and all that.
Yeah.
But nothing is guaranteed in life. Period. I mean, the reason why we have insurance is, I guess Chris Rock said it best in one movie of his. I don't remember what it is, but if I remembered, I probably wouldn't say it.
Mm.
He said that insurance is there because in case S happens, the four-letter S word. And
Oh,
yeah, I
like,
mean
oh, damn.
yeah, that's what insurance is for. But we all need it because we never know in case S happens. I mean, we never know exactly, but there's also the bumper sticker in Forrest Gump where it says S happens because in case S happens, insurance was made for that reason, for that purpose.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just like whenever we get injured, broke my metatarsal foot. Luckily, I had insurance, so I don't go bankrupt owing these crazy medical bills and stuff and
And
whatnot.
speaking of insurance, I have a dog insurance on my puppy Gracie. I mean, she's a puppy because she's 5 pounds, but she's not a puppy because she's 6 years old.
All right.
But I also just got life insurance, not life insurance. I guess it's what I have for Gracie and for Sophia, my mom's new puppy, because she's a real puppy. She's like about 10 months, not even that possibly. She's half Maltese, half Frenchie mix. She's very beautiful, white with a brown spot like my Gracie.
All right.
But I have dog insurance on both of them because just for emergencies in case something were to happen to them, and I've gotten good use out of Gracie's insurance because we had to get her one of her I think it's the right hind leg, already had ACL and MCL surgery, and she survived it because the vet said that it was going to be hard for her to survive that. But the insurance was guaranteed. I think I only paid out of pocket 85 to 90%. They covered, and I paid the rest, which works. I mean, when insurance is intended to work, yeah, it's going to do miracles for you because it's not going to affect your pocketbook as much as you thought because you're like, okay, I'm only paying 35 just to say, I don't know how much I pay now. I probably pay more a month for her premium, for Gracie's premium, but it was worth it because our medical vet bill at that time, a few years back, was about 5 to 6 grand,
Oh crap.
and we got back a major chunk. I mean, under my insurance, I probably got about, I guess it was like 5,300. I got 4,800 covered.
Damn.
It was worth it. But see, in those cases, I think insurance is awesome because I love my dog. I love my Gracie. She's my daughter because I don't have any kids and I can't have any kids. But it's worth it because I want her around until hopefully 20 years she was born. She's 6 now. Hopefully, God willing, I'll be able to have her another 14 years. Hopefully.
Yeah, man, I love my dogs, but I mean, at the end of the day, to me, I mean, dogs are dogs. I don't really got insurance money on them, but yeah, if
No, to each their own.
something happens to them, and be like, well, I'm sorry, perro.
No, don't worry. I'm not trying to make you feel bad about it. And everybody that has insurance for your puppies or for your cats or for any type of pet you have, there's nothing wrong with that. To each their own. You do you. And it worked for me because it did work for me. I mean, I would have never have thought that she was going to go through anything that's severe and serious.
No, yeah, and even at work, there's customers that come in and whenever we do like automotive repairs to their vehicle, then they're like, oh, here, and they show us the company that we're gonna bill. So then we write out we give them the estimate, and then they submit it to they have like like instead of like the dog insurance, they have it for the vehicle repairs.
You're talking about like warranty coverage?
No, it's like automotive repair insurance.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the new thing that people are starting to get
Yeah.
into.
Yeah, so people that they would come and they give us, we wouldn't charge them. They would give us the information of the insurance company, so then we would bill the insurance company. But yeah, that way they don't get hit out of pocket with the out of pocket expenses, even for automotive repairs.
Well, I'm sure they're going to pay their premium, whatever their premium
Yeah.
was set at. Yeah, but I mean, insurance is good if it works, but when the system is rigged against you, where everything just, I mean, for you to stay healthy, it costs an arm and a leg, and I mean, you have no choice. At the end of the day, those medical billers are going to be calling you if you don't pay your bills.
Yeah. Yeah, and from what I saw, one of the statistics, on average, the average American has $18,000 in medical bills, and that was from 2021.
That's a
That
lot.
bill, yeah, and I was like, wow. I actually saw a meme where someone put, the average American has $18,000 in medical bills, and they were only offering a $10,000 reward to find that the
Wow,
shooter of the
not even worth it.
CEO. So I was like, oh man, they could have at least put a bigger bounty on on his head.
You go to Tijuana here in Baja California, like about 2 hours from here, and that $18,000 will go down easily to $2,000
Yeah, yeah,
because that's just how it is in Mexico.
yeah, yeah. I heard there's even in Mexico. There's even I saw in the news. There's like a town that's literally just dedicated to dental doctors. I'm not too sure where it is, but I gotta start finding out where it is so I could
I would assume it's
get.
probably Ensenada because I hear a lot of Americans go down there to get their teeth work done because it's just more beneficial and they do I mean, I think they do a better job because people come back and they're like happy with their teeth.
Yeah,
They can do more things with their teeth, especially going down there because before they left here, you go to I guess to a dentist and they work on you, but then like 2 weeks later something happens. I know because I recently I didn't go there, but I went about maybe 10 years ago. I got a lot of things done. I was happy as a clam, and whatever they did here didn't work because it just it's rigged for you to keep coming back so they can keep collecting on the insurance money, and that's why I don't try to frequent dentists here in the U.S.
yeah. Well, now you know, folks. If you need some of that medical or dental insurance south of the border, I mean, a lot of people would do it. Hey, and they still get that Cali current down there too in Mexico.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, yeah. Si entienden español, Cali Current and YouTube y Spotify.
Yeah. So thanks again once everybody for watching into another episode of the Cali Current podcast with your host Grimace.
And your host Ish.
And we hope you all have a good evening, good night, or good morning if you're watching us in the daytime.
Yes, thank you very much, everybody, for being here. Also, on my behalf, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah. Peace out, everybody.
Take care.